good afternoon out there. This is Dwayne Hines, my co-host.
Damian Hughes, good afternoon, Houston.
And welcome to another session of Real Talk Real Estate right here in Houston. Hey, look, today we're going to cover some things today that are directly related to the unemployed.
Self-employed.
I want to say that, man.
No, you've been talking about that all day, man.
I'm sorry.
Self-employed.
We're going to talk about self-employed because, Houston, I guess since you brought that up, man.
What? I have got some phone calls. Somebody say, you know something? I'm in between jobs. Can I get a loan? Or some people maybe even called in and say, hey, I get unemployment. Can I get a loan based on my unemployment? So that may be some questions that we may have to address. But let's get back to the self-employed. I mean, it's the real. Okay. Hey, I get my unemployment.
Well, just to
month.
answer that question real quick, you can't use unemployment income to buy your house. Okay, so that's out.
Okay.
Next,
get back to the show. All right.
But we're going to talk about self-employed. But I want you to write the number down first. Okay, 713-256-8724. 713-256-8724. 8724. I say my own number so much I can't say it. This is what we want to talk about. Houston has become kind of like Atlanta. I mean, everybody now has a business that they've started since COVID. People are in business, but they're in business, and now that they're doing...
something? I want to say Atlanta's trying to be like Houston.
Okay, well, Atlanta's trying to be like Houston.
Yeah, this H-Town, man.
Yeah, according to your mayor, he's like, I don't know why we not.
Yeah, this H-Town,
Yeah,
baby.
this is H-Town.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is just say this. The self-employed tend to not really know what direction a lot of times they need to go because they don't use a W-2, most of them. They are just 1099.
Or in some cases, they may not even be. Really, when you're self-employed, there is so many directions that.
Well, because
you may not be 1099.
You may not because
just take money out of your account every month.
Some people are now using Cash App. Some people are Zelle.
Cash App, use Zelle.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of different things to make these transactions as far as the money go, and so now you want to know how do you use this. If you decide that you want to purchase a home, how do you track? Well, we're going to ask the banker.
Well, we're going to talk about all that today. We're going to talk about if you cash and carry.
Well,
let's
talk
about
this.
Cash App, Zelle.
So let's say this.
Google Pay, the whole 9 yards.
Let me ask you this. So now I'm self-employed, right?
Okay.
So, hey, this is the time of convenience now. So I got Cash App. I'm Zelling. Right. I got the Square. I got the Chime. I'm using all these different ways to collect my money.
To collect your pay. Yeah.
Right, because I know people in the business of baking. They bake, okay? But I also, that now on the Cash App, that they're now having you to report that so you can be taxed on that.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, when someone comes to me and they say they're self-employed... my first question is, have you filed your tax returns?
Right.
That's always going to be my first question.
So even self-employed, so I got a client sitting in there.
And really, and let me just add this on here, from a mortgage standpoint, I'm really not interested how you're collecting your money. You can collect it cash. You can do cash. But I'm not really into that piece of it.
How you're reporting your money.
I'm interested in how you're reporting the money, not collecting the money.
Basically, if you're filing your taxes, okay, we still go by the rule of 2. You still need 2 years of tax returns. You still need 2 years of employment, or you need to show that you've been in that business 2 years. Okay, so how you collect your money is on you, but how you report it is how we're going to determine how much home you can purchase. Okay?
And also, that's just the first question.
That's the first one.
Now, unless someone says, well, you know something, Damian, I have not filed my taxes. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing.
That gives us a blank slate. And so we can sit down and talk about your business. And I can introduce you to a tax professional where
Right.
we can
Right.
get your paperwork in order to go
Right.
through the mortgage process.
And that's another thing. What you have to understand is when you're out here looking for your home, you're self-employed. It's about, how you report your money, one, and then how that, we need to know all that so we'll know how to structure on your end how to structure the loan.
Right.
Okay, because right now we're dealing with clients right now that they're self-employed, been self-employed, make the money, but because of the way they do the taxes, okay, it limits them on how much home you can buy,
Let's
or
be
whether or
specific.
not you can buy.
What do you
Okay.
mean the way they do their taxes? What you talking about, Hines?
Well, everybody
Limits. The way I do my
everybody-
taxes is going to limit me.
when people file their
let's
taxes,
give it to the people. Let's give it to them.
You hear you hear this all the time. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna wait till I get my tax return. Well, it's tax that when I get my money back, what they're gonna do. But see, here's what's happening. They're not thinking about, the fact they want to buy a house, or
Right.
they think they're gonna use that money they get back to buy the house. But what happens is, if you have filed your taxes, you made $100,000 this year, and you filed your taxes, but you only, you wrote off $50,000 of that.
So you wrote off all your money.
You
That's what
wrote
you're saying.
you wrote your money off.
Okay.
So now when you get ready to buy, you're not buying based on 100,000.
Okay.
You're buying based on 50.
Okay.
So you
so
might,
so what
yeah.
you mean in the way they do the taxes is you may make some money.
You may
and
make
once
some
you take
money.
your deductions, you're going to write
That's
some stuff
it.
off.
That's
how much
it.
you're actually claiming.
How much you actually claiming.
Okay.
So you have to be careful about how you do your taxes. This is why I tell people, if you do not own where you lay your head, then you need to talk to somebody like us before you decide
Give them
that
the number.
713-256-8724. You need to come in, sit down, and find out, look, how should I be doing this? I did this last year, but I want to buy a house this year, so how should my taxes be filed? Now, when we say that, that means we're going to start something, because let's say, Damien, they made $100,000 last year. They wrote it off, and they wrote that stuff off. It showed 50, right? But now this year they got 125 doing the same thing. So it's a possibility you put yourself in position to where you may owe some taxes.
I got a question. Okay. One of the benefits of being self-employed, it does allow you to take advantage of the tax code.
Okay. And
Okay.
when you say take advantage of the tax code, what are you saying?
Well, there's certain things that you can write off. So if I go to lunch, like you're gonna take me out to lunch after the show, you can write that off because we're gonna talk about business. We're gonna drive to that restaurant. We can write that off. So that's what I mean. You can take advantage of certain things. Now, what if I say, you know something?
He getting me on this lunch. He's sticking me. He getting me on this. Go ahead. Finish. I'll comment on that before the show.
So what if I say, you know something? Is it possible that I can purchase a home? And I really don't want to deal with Uncle Sam. I don't want to put myself on the radar. I don't want to deal with that.
I don't want him to know what I'm doing.
I don't know Uncle Sam in my business at all. Can I still get a house some way, shape, form, or fashion?
And not let him know?
Well, I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with the tax return piece. Is there a way that I can still get across that finish line and not file my taxes?
Well, if you got 24 months of bank statements.
So there is a way.
Yeah.
So if I'm self-employed and I don't want to deal with Uncle Sam, I mean, maybe I got whatever I got going on in my life.
If you have
Right.
24 months of bank statements that are going to equal up to the monies that you say you make. So if you telling me you make $100,000 a year, that means your bank statements for 24 months should equal up to $200,000.
It should show something.
It should show $200,000. If you can do that, then we can use a bank statement program.
You know something? That's worth calling in. I'll give them the number.
713-256-8724. So for those of you that are in business for yourself, if you're being smart and you're making the money and you have a CPA, you have an accountant that's handling your books, you shouldn't have a problem giving us 24 months of bank statements.
Right. And what I find out when working with business owners and entrepreneurs is a lot of times they just want to know, how do I need to position myself to go through this process? I mean, I think those are the major questions. Even if someone does have the CPA or EA or the tax or whatever they have, they may be filing their taxes a certain way, taking advantage of certain things that self-employed people can take advantage of.
That's why they need to dial the number, 713-256-8724. You need to come in, sit down and get that blueprint laid out for you. But more than anything, I don't know how to stress this, you have to first, before you even think, get your mind ready, because this is definitely a process.
It is a process.
It can be a really bumpy road. You know, you're going to be upset a lot about a lot of things. You're going to ask a lot of whys. But you have to understand, you're asking somebody to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars just based on what we give them. And here's the other part that comes.
I got a question that has popped in my head. It's going to go along with what you're saying.
Question?
Okay, so we've talked about tax returns. Okay. We've talked about, hey, I don't want to file my tax returns. Well, okay, there's another possible avenue. We can use bank statements. I'm self-employed. What if I pay myself a W-2? Say, you know something, Damien, Mr. Hines, I'm self-employed, but I pay myself a W-2 and I got paycheck stubs. If I'm self-employed, could I use my own W-2s and my own paycheck stubs to qualify me for a loan?
Yes,
is that possible?
You can, because, you know, now you've taken the position of employer and employee. So your business is your business, and your W-2s, what you're paying yourself, is what you're going to use as your income.
Okay. So, what if
that was good information for somebody? You know, somebody's real close to us right now. That's good information for them. You know, somebody in the background, that worked for them. Thank you for that.
Okay. Another question. What if I 1099 myself? Okay. And I'm just throwing these things out because it's going to be based on how your business is structured. If you're structured as a DBA, you're going to file a Schedule C. But if you're a S Corp or a C Corp, or you're an LLC, those type of structures, you may have the opportunity to W-2 yourself. You can 1099 yourself. You may wait to the end of the year, see how profitable your business is. You may take a K-1. I mean, there's all different kind of ways we can put this thing together.
That's right.
There's all kind of different ways. We just need to know that you're on board and that your mind is prepared for the process.
So what you're saying, what we're really saying is that your home purchase is customized just for you. Okay,
that's what we're saying.
That's all we're saying. Everything we do is customized just for you. It has nothing to do with your neighbor, your friend, your relative, how somebody else got their home. It's simply what works for you, what's going to help you obtain home ownership quickly as we can, smoothly as we can, with as less stress as you possibly can have. That's the goal. And the other key part of that is what a lot of people don't know. You know, obtaining first, and we kind of go backwards because a lot of people think that I'm working backwards when they come into office, right?
Right.
Because when they come into office, I don't want to talk to them about houses. You know, people want to come in, they want to see this house, they want to see that house. And I tell them up front, look, I'm not looking, or we're not looking at any houses until we have gotten a check on the table.
And by that, he means an approval letter from
That's it.
from
We
us.
need to know that we're not window shopping. Because when people do that, this is how a lot of people get out here and they lose money. Okay, when they are allowed to put the cart in front of the horse, so to speak, and then at the end of the ride, okay, since you've been traveling backwards anyway, at the end of the ride, you find out that now I can't turn it around and get the horse in front of the cart, meaning that I've gotten out here, and now my earnest money is in jeopardy. I've spent money for appraisals. I've had inspections done. I've paid for the survey, but because I hadn't gotten clear, I hadn't gotten cleared on my check, I've just jeopardized the money. So what we don't do is we don't do that. Now when we have cleared you and gotten you straight and we know that we have this check for you, then the other part of that, because now this is what this is called, okay? That's your collateral, okay? That's now where we will go out together. We will find your collateral, okay, that you're going to use to obtain this loan that we know we now can get, that we're probably 98% sure that it's going to happen.
Right.
Okay. Now, and the way that contract is structured also helps. Can we agree on that?
Yes, I agree with you.
I know
on
we
that.
said a lot right there. I'm sorry,
So
but
I do have another question. Okay. So I'm self-employed,
you self-employed.
and you're saying that I can get in this house a variety of different ways.
You can get in the house many different ways.
Now, what about the rates? Are my rates going to be higher, or is it the same as? Because I'm self-employed, is there like a self-employment tax, or do I get extra higher rates or down payment? Talk to me about that.
Well, if you're doing a bank statement or you're doing your 1099, yeah, you're going to come in a little bit of a difference. If I'm not, and then your credit scores are going to help us too.
Right. So if I'm self-employed,
if you're self-employed and you're using a bank statement, here's how it's going to go. You come to me and you're self-employed, and now you went through this initial process and we've gathered all this information. When I move this file from me to the banker, he's going to come back and say, well, D, the rate's going to be a little different.
maybe a little bit higher because
Yeah,
you have
because
your documentation is untraditional.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that you can still obtain home ownership.
You can still do home
The
ownership.
door is not closed,
And it's not 10%.
The door is open.
It's not what people tell you out there. This is what's real important. You have to come in. 713-256-8724 is the number. Call and set your appointment, because it's better to know exactly what it is you're doing. Okay? Have the blueprint. Have the plan. Know that what you're doing is moving you closer to home ownership, rather than thinking that you're moving closer to home ownership, or just going under the assumption that what I'm doing is going to get me into a home. Even as recent as yesterday, I'm working with a family, and everybody wants you to be precise with certain things. And this is not a deal where, listen, a date on a contract, if you read it, okay, this is the estimated date. You can close on or before that date. It depends on what's going on with your situation, okay? This is why you want to get as much stuff out of the way up front as you possibly can. But typically, once you have obtained that signed and executed contract that a seller has said, okay, we agree on these terms, typically your closing is 30 days out, 30 to 45 days out. Right. It can close earlier than that, so you should be ready. But what you shouldn't do, well, we're going to say that for another show.
I got another question, man. These questions coming to me. Okay, so this is my situation. I got a job that I work. I go, but I got a side hustle. Okay, I've been.
Not the side hustle.
I got a side hustle, right?
Okay.
I got my job,
Okay.
and I'm hustling on the side.
Okay.
And Mr. Hines, my side hustle's been getting real good lately.
Good side hustle.
It's been getting real good.
Okay.
And I want to know, can I use my job and my side hustle? Now, I don't have any, I haven't went to the Secretary of State. I haven't filed my.
You haven't done anything. It's just your side hustle.
This is my side hustle. And then I got my job, and I want to know, how can I maximize my opportunity to purchase a home? Talk to me about that.
So that takes me all the way back to the basic. Remember, if you watch shows before, even I say this, even in this show, we have to deal with the twos. Everything is twos, okay? Everything is twos. 2 years of employment, 2 years of income, okay? And what do we do? 2
months of bank statements.
2 months of bank statements and 2 years of rental history or whatever. So what that means is, if you're self-employed, or if you have a job and then you have a business on the side, the question is, can I use my job and my business on the side?
Right.
The answer is, you can use the business on the side if number one, you've been doing it for 2 years. If you haven't been using it for 2 years, we can't use it. 2, if you can prove the income. Do you have bank statements? Do you have whatever you have? Because the money has to be verifiable. So
possibly.
Yeah, possibly. If you meet those things, you can use it, but it has to be. And here's the thing: those are the basics. Now, does it always work out like that? Because I'm gonna tell you, we have put together some deals that nobody thought they were gonna get. So
one thing Hines says, and I think we are a true testament of this. We think outside the box while staying inside the guidelines.
Think outside the box while staying inside the guidelines.
So as a banker, I know all the rules and all the regulations. And I know our clients and our customers, I know what their vision is. And what Hines and I, what we do, we take that vision, and we know what the guidelines are, and what we're going to do is counsel you, educate you, empower you, and put you in a position so we can help you achieve that vision.
We're going to turn can't into can. That's what we're going to do. Everybody that told you you couldn't, we're going to show you that you can. We're going to take your dream that somebody tried to cover up and put aside and discourage you about. We're going to bring it back to life.
Yeah. And it's going to be realistic now.
Because personally, this is just my own personal goal. I believe this, that if you're working 40 hours, 45, 50, 60 hours a week, and you want to own where you lay your head, look, the only reason you don't own where you lay your head is you haven't dialed the number, 713-256-8724. Because what you need is somebody that will take the time, hold your hand, structure, build you, get you into home buying position. Okay? We think outside the box while staying inside the guideline. So let me just say this. Do we do hookups?
We do education. We do empowerment.
We don't do no hookups?
No, we're going to educate you.
We don't do no little crooked, let me just slide you under the door.
Nah, I've been banking for 20 plus years, man. And
we don't do that.
And you older than me, so you've been in there a minute yourself. And then if we put that together, we got 40, 50 years worth of experience.
So are you saying
that's a lot of experience to be
right,
looking at your file and giving you the proper counseling you need to achieve your goals?
So what you're saying is that once we do it, it's airtight, it's solid. You don't have to worry about not being in your house 2 years. And I'm going to tell you something. This is what happened before. A lot of people have lost homes because of bad deals. Okay, a lot of people have lost home because of bad information and no education on what they were doing. Okay, so and a lot of times you have to ask yourself, so people out there, if you're listening, you need to be aware of this, because I hear this every day.
All right.
Miss Hines, I want to buy a house, but I don't have no money.
Okay,
So I'm just telling you, I'm not one of those people that are going to say, "Oh, well, come on, you don't need any money." Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Even if we don't,
not saying you need a
lot of money, but even if you don't
something.
use the money, even if you don't have to use the money, we need to know that it's there.
Yeah, you need.
So at worst case scenario, you need to always have 3.5% of whatever it is you want to buy. I don't care if you're self-employed, W-2, unless you're talking about paying for your house for cash. Those days, and I'm saying that because
and with Hines, he's just talking about a rainy day fund, your just in case money.
Yeah, I call it jig. That's jig. Just get the jig money out.
Hey, just in case.
Yeah, that's the jig money.
Your bumper get pulled off the front of your car.
Yeah, go get that money.
And you got to go get that fixed.
Yeah. Just in case. Forget about the Dooney and Burke purse and all these other designers.
Yeah, your transmission.
Yeah, don't worry about the Movado watches and the Rolexes right now.
Kind of stuff.
Let's just get where you lay your head together, and then we can do the other stuff.
I got one more question,
man. What do I
man.
want to ask about unemployed?
I got one more question, man, because I know we nearing towards the end of the show. Scenario. I got a businessman. It's me, my mama, and my cousin. We all own the business.
That's good.
Okay. I just want to get a house myself, right? We all own this business. I just want to get a house. I don't want to include them. What do I need to do where I can get a house? Now I know we ain't filed our paperwork properly, but what do we need to do? Call the phone number
713-256-8724, and guess what? Tune in next week so we can pick up right there about what to do if you're in a business but with multiple people, but you don't want to include them in buying your home. Hey, see us here next week at Real Talk Real Estate. Dwayne Hines,
Damian Hughes.
Hey, we are the Double D's of
Peace.
real estate.